To be quite honest with y'all, I did not think I was qualified to be selected as captain. It wasn't even in my plan. But what I did know was that God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And God's plan is always greater than ours. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Yass, and I'm back at it again. It's been a long time, but I'm finally back. In today's video, I just want to talk about how I became the 2018-2019 Sensational Stingate Captain, and I really pray that this video can encourage and motivate somebody. I just want to show y'all that when God has something for you, nothing can come in the way of that. God's plan will always prevail, and no weapons that form against you will prosper. There were so many people who did not want to see me in that position, but God sent the right people to show me that I was indeed meant for that position in that season. Because girl, I didn't even believe in it myself, okay? Let's get into it. So let's go back to 2017 when I transferred from Southern University to Alabama State University in pursuit of becoming a sensational stingate. I had to go in with tunnel vision, go-getter mindset, eat or be eaten. That was my whole idea. And I kept that same energy the entire season because I really valued that position and that spot on that team because I worked so hard for it, and I left everything behind at Southern just for that. So as a freshman on the team, I worked extremely hard. Like from day one, I was busting my behind, and I was always going the extra mile. I was far from perfect, but I always tried to make sure I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. I never settled for anything. I always pushed myself beyond my limits. I would go out of my way to help my sisters and my teammates. I would always be up every night before game night doing people's hair. Like I didn't even go to sleep Magic City Classic night because I wanted to make sure everybody's hair was done. And me and my sisters, we were very, very adamant about making sure we were just good. Like we would go to the black box all the time. We would be practicing in the dorm together. I have so many videos of us just practicing. And when I wasn't practicing with them, I was practicing by myself. And that was just the culture for us. And of course, just through me being myself, my leadership skills and my energy and my character just always showed. I just really knew that I had a goal, and the goal was to be the best darn freshman that I could be, because that's what I went there for. I went there to be the best thing that I could be. And that's just who I am. Anywhere I go, I always put 110%. So that was very personal for me in the sense that I had to put in that extra work to make sure I fulfilled my dream and showed God that I'm grateful for what he had done, because it was all him. That whole transfer, that whole audition process, all of that, I give the glory to God. I wouldn't have been able to do that by myself. I still look back on it like, wow, that seems like it was impossible to do. With God, baby, anything is possible, okay? So after we completed the football season, that's when the questions started to roll in. I guess people had started to see like how hard I was working and how much I was doing and how good I was doing on the team. Because I really didn't even think I was, that good. But I am a fast learner, so I don't know, maybe people took that as, okay, she got it. But in my head, I'm like, girl, no, I don't got it. I'm still getting it. People were really like asking me, are you gonna put in a letter? When are you gonna put in a letter? And the first person to actually bring that up and bring that to my attention was Mr. Grant. Rest in peace, Mr. Grant. I love you so much. I miss you so much. Oh my gosh. But he just, sorry y'all. But he was the first person to ask me, am I gonna put in a letter? And he didn't even ask me, he told me. He said, yes, when you gonna put in a letter? It's time for you to put in that letter. When you gonna start writing that letter? So you're gonna be captain next year? I'm waiting for you to be captain. Like, he would always tell me that every time he saw me. And that was just puzzling to me because I'm like, I just finished crabbing and you're asking me about being the captain? Like, are you insane? So every time he asked me that, I just blew him off. Like, no, Mr. Grant, I'm not doing that. I'm not ready for that. Like, why would I even go for captain and I've only been here for a year, not even a whole year yet? But he never gave it up. And Then fast forward to basketball season. In the last game of the season, y'all know I led to Drowning. And when I was leading to this song, I was very, very nervous. But afterwards, people were just like, wow, like, you did so good. Like, you need to be in the front. Like, are you gonna be the captain next year? Is she gonna be the captain? Even after all the praise and all of the support that I got from leading in that video, I still denied it. I was still like, no, just because I look good in the front doesn't mean I need to be captain. Throughout the rest of that semester, I had so many people encouraging me. I had some of my sisters encouraging me. One of the dance trainers that we worked with was very, very supportive. People from Southern or reaching out to me like, you need to be the captain. Are you gonna put in a letter this year? Like, my friends who helped me transfer, they was like, so are we getting a letter? Like, what's going on? And sometimes I didn't even understand, why is all of this happening at one time? And I realized that God usually speaks to me and tells me my calling through other people, because he's given me a connection with others. And I know that he allows his will to be spoken through other people. Because just like the year before, people was doing the same thing, telling me to go audition after that Stingette challenge. And I was doing the same thing, still denying it. And I always looked at it as like, why would I go for captain and I'm only a freshman and there's 2 other upperclassmen who are here who probably are gonna go for captain themselves. So it's like, why would I put myself in that predicament, you know? All right, so in May of 2018 is when I finally made the decision to put in a letter for captain. I sat down in my dorm and I vividly remember being on my phone and writing in my journal. I'm an avid journaler. I've been journaling since I was 12, so everything that goes through my mind or that I've gone through in my life, I have written down somewhere. And so I went straight to my journal and I was just like, okay, I want to be the captain. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put in a letter. And I just started to write down ideas and things that I thought that I could change and things that I thought I could work on individually and as a group. Reasons why I thought that I could be the captain, things that have led me to that point. And I just was writing things. And when I tell y'all, it was flowing like water. Like, I didn't even have to think twice about the stuff that I was writing. It was already coming. And that's how it is. When God got something for you, it's not gonna be hard. You ain't gonna have to force it. You ain't gonna have to go out your way to make it happen, because he gonna give it to you. And that's exactly what he was doing this entire planning process for me. But to be honest, I still wasn't very confident in my ability to actually pull it off. And it really wasn't until I got deep into prayer and just sat down and listened to God and really tried to separate myself from everybody and everything and really reflect on everything that I had done that season, everything I had done, period, in my life. And I realized that God had been preparing me for this moment all this time. All of the things that I was doing, all the sleep that I was losing, all of the extra hard work that I was putting in, God was preparing me through all of that. So on June 4th of 2018, I wrote my first official personal statement. And I say personal because it was only for me to be the captain. And this was like my pre-letter. And this is when I wrote out everything, all the stuff that I wanted to plan for. I wrote down what I thought a captain was and why did I want to be the captain. And I wrote down my values and my morals and the things that I wanted to instill in my girls if I were chosen as captain, and just so many things that I just had it all laid out. This was actually the turning point of when I really started to believe in myself. I tapped in right then, like, let's go ahead, lock that in. I'm finna put in a letter. And y'all know I said whenever I do something, I put my whole foot in it, okay? I'm talking about my whole size 10. So that year, our process was pretty unique compared to the other years. We had to go through a few different stages in order for us to be selected. On June 24th, I wrote my official interest letter to be the captain. And at first, it was 2 pages long, single spaced. So actually like 4 pages, double spaced. And when I tell y'all, I remember sitting down just typing. Remember, I had already laid everything out numerous times. When a vision comes to my mind, I do not hesitate to write it down, because the words say write the vision and make it plain. So I had to cut it down because I was like, they're not gonna read no 2-page single space letter. After a million times of reading it over and cutting it down and changing words, I finally got it to how I wanted. That's the perfectionist stuff, y'all know. And I really wanted to make sure that I stood behind and believed in every single thing that I wrote in that letter. So our next stage was an interview process. And we were actually interviewed by a panel of 3 former Stingate captains. JoJo from 0203, Ty from 05, Jacquees from 06. My big sisters, I love them so much. Amber was in the room, Dr. Oliver was in the room, and Ms. Williams was in the room. The 3 Stingate captains were the ones conducting the interview, and not to mention we were being recorded. No pressure, right? That was definitely a different experience. It was very intimidating, but I think I handled it pretty well. I said a prayer and I walked in with confidence, and y'all, I aced that interview. Everything I was coming, I'm making eye contact, I'm smiling, I'm talking to them like they're people, like I'm being natural. It was just a really easy interview for me, although the setting was so intense. Like, that is so much pressure to be sitting in front of 3 legendary captains from 10 plus years before you, asking you why you want to be the captain. Why are you a good candidate for the captain position? And the way God just had my answers flowing, I was sitting very poised, with style, with grace, and be able to do that. Also, while sitting in front of the coordinator, my captain, and the band director, and the film guy with a big camera in my face. Oh my gosh, I commend all 3 of us for going through that, because that was definitely nerve-wracking. But still to this day, I think that was one of my best interviews for anything I've ever interviewed for. I usually interview well, but that was one of my best ones. Like, that was the one. And so then when the audition came around, we had a very, very vigorous process. Like, they were on us like white on rice. First of all, Amber is crazy. She made like a 5-minute routine. Okay, I'm being dramatic, but it was a really long routine. And we had to do that routine so many times. Like, I remember them telling us to constantly do it over and over again. Like, it was just us 3 just doing it. You know, they was really testing us. I just took that whole audition process like very, very serious. Regardless of if I get captain or even if I don't make the team, like, I'm gonna set an example. I had the same mindset that I had the last audition, and I really amplified that times 10, because now I'm stepping into this audition in the form of a leader. I'm trying to be a leader now, not just a member of the team. So y'all could imagine how hard we was in there going. But all I knew was eat or be eaten. So after the audition was over, we all were standing in the choir room, and they were calling out the numbers of who was selected to be on the team. So they were calling numbers, and I was counting the numbers in my head. They called 13 numbers, and they dismissed everybody. What? And at that point, my number still wasn't called. So I'm thinking like, oh, they cutting folks. My spot is gone. I had a smile on my face the whole time, because I'm keeping my poise, you know. We're still in audition mode in my head. So in my mind though, I'm like, what is really going on in here? Like, and Ms. Williams goes to announce, and your 2018-2019 Stingate captain is Yasmine Whitehurst. Y'all, I got chills in my body. Oh my gosh, y'all. I still remember that feeling to this day. I dropped to my knees, screaming, bawling. I cried for at least 5 minutes straight. And Amber was like, y'all better get used to it. Y'all captain is dramatic. And she was just smiling, and Ms. Williams was just smiling, and the team was just smiling. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. Like, did I really just get picked as the captain of this team? And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, did I really just get 10 freshmen as a freshman to captain? And I'm like, so many things is going through my mind at that time. Like, bro, this is finna be crazy. This is finna seem impossible. Like, all of this seems impossible. It still was like, it was just out of this world to me what had just happened. But I just know that that's God's grace, that's God's favor, that's how he works, and that when he has a will, there is always a way. Minutes after we sat down and had our powwow, and I congratulated all the girls, and I introduced myself, and I told them all the things that they needed to know, and we had to get ready for practice and stuff like that. When we dismissed them, that's when everything hit the fan. Like, I was not prepared for the aftermath. If y'all want a video on how I dealt with all of the things that came with that position and how I dealt with the obstacles and the adversity, please let me know, because that's a whole nother story for another day. But I just want y'all to know that when God's favor is over your life, a lot of people won't understand it. A lot of people won't like it. A lot of people will not support it. And you have to have really tough skin these days. And the only way to get through that stuff is with hard work and faith, prayer, staying true to God, staying in the word. And that's the only thing that got us through that season. You cannot get through God's will without God. I just really hope that this video has encouraged somebody to just go and step out in faith for what he has been calling you to do. If you have been seeing signs, if you have been hearing things, if you have been understanding things, he's been showing you things through the word and revealing things, man, pray on it and move. Don't let fear stop you, because he did not give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Where he guides, he will provide, okay? I'm so glad I could finally get this video out to you guys, because I've been holding on to this for a very long time. I got so many more videos coming out for y'all just to help you guys get through this audition process, and just to help encourage you all and inspire you all to keep pushing forward through whatever you're going through. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you click that like button, share this video, because I know that this can help somebody out there. I love y'all.